What's up, douches? So I think Star YouTube might start limiting my uploads. This might get throttled. I think it's got something to do with the time length of the Masters of Orion battles. We'll see. You guys remember Blackberries? I'm pretty sure the Mormons were hacking everyone using Blackberries for like 20 years. Because, well, guess what? Guess how I learned about Masters of Orion? Mormon shit. I was boxing, and on Friday, I went boxing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then Saturday, coach had me doing extra boxing. And then, because my probation officer let it count as going to rehab, I would do missionary work with the missionaries from Mormon Church. I'm gonna go around, talk to people, have Book of Mormon, it's my name tag, all that bullshit. And they were like, "Well, you're such a nice young man doing all this pro bono work." And I was like, 2 years, and I was like, to myself, I was like, 2 years ago, I got thrown under the bus by my douchey older brothers. I was keep that to myself. Anyways, during all of the like Mormon shit, there was always some old motherfucker who worked for like the CIA or the FBI, pull out his BlackBerry and start playing around with the BlackBerry during all the sermons. And I swear to God, now that I know what it is, I'm pretty sure I saw like TCP dump or some shit like, or a command line on one of those things. What are you doing, brother so and so? Making sure that the Lord's house is under control. I'm pretty sure that whatever the Mormon temple is got to do with Antarctica because like most things, like especially when I found out that there was a Mormon temple in Manhattan, and I was like, "There's a Mormon temple in Manhattan?" Because I'm thinking like the DC temple was like a massive building with an angel. They're like, "Oh no, it's one of the floors in one of the buildings in the skyscrapers." And I was like, So they have some kind of a BlackBerry in there where they communicate with everyone else. Hmm. And then I was like, well, no one's allowed to go to Antarctica. So you know how like a router forwards co communication? The temples are probably like routers, and whatever's in Antarctica is probably like the ISP and all that bullshit. And our brains are like the endpoint devices, so they always want us to fine tune our brains. Anyways, look, I know Stephanie is watching my Masters of Orions. Oh, that's what it was. Because she's going on a some kind of a spazzing out about women's empowerment. I remember when I first started playing Masters of Orion. Believe it or not, one of the church elders told me about one of like the old church. I think he was a 70 or a stake president or some shit like that. He was telling me about Masters of Orion and how it had a cult following. And I was like, it's kind of interesting. Well, interesting that you're talking about a cult following video game stake president so and so, but Mormons aren't a cult, so maybe I shouldn't look at it. Maybe I will. Anyways, I remember I remember thinking to myself because like basically I was playing Masters of Orion. This is during that like if anyone's ever seen it, those Facebooks of me wearing like the American bandana and doing the thingy where I'm killing the chickens for everyone. That's up there somewhere. It was right after that time. And one of those girls, she had kind of a unibrow. and she was from middle of the desert, but her family was like super into the church, like high up in the church, and she was like into me, and she started giving me rides places, but just because I needed a ride, and we were like about to start fooling around, and I remember she goes, any husband of mine, already thinking about marriage, any husband of mine has to follow the commandments so we can make it to the celestial kingdom. Handshakey. And I thought to myself, this bitch is nowhere near hot enough for all of that shit. And I apologize, and I hope that you're happy with whoever you ended up with and all that bullshit. But I was like, there's no point in going to the celestial kingdom if I don't think you're hot. Uh, but now I see why only not hot bitches talk like that. Because the hot bitches do not talk like that. The hot bitches just want things and demand things because no one checks them. I really think I'm the first person to ever check Stephanie. Like, I'm pretty sure I checked her when I met her the first time because, like, by me talking to her friend instead of talking to her first, that was me checking her. I was like, "You're hot. You never been told but you've never been told no before. So I'm gonna talk to your not as hot as you friend." And she was like, "I can't handle this. This is bullshit. Let me start popping my buttons." It's all bullshittery. I don't know where I was going with that. All I know is I have to get my car fixed. This is the last week. I have to make some magic happen because I have to go see my parents. It was crazy. It was crazy. Masters of Orion. It was like, I remember my mom and dad were fighting for years. And then for like 2 or 3 years, there was no fighting, but I just had to go do all this Mormon shit that I didn't really want to do. But if I did it, there's no fighting, and I could sneak out and go to Starland and play video games and all that bullshit. And in between all of that, all of these really old people who ended up working for the CIA and FBI and shit like that, who were really good with computers, showed me a bunch of crazy ass shit. And now we're here, and I'm gonna go play Masters of Orion's 4 Battle of Antares. Peace out.